promises broken, wounds that seep. The jukebox screams, the lights will weep. No justice here, just lies that keep.
What up, what up? Welcome back, folks. Yes, we are open late tonight. Good to see you all in here. Thank you for joining me. Excuse me. I hope you're all having a good night and have had a great day today. I've been here throughout most of the day, so I figured what the hell. Might as well shut down the night the best way with the best people on the planet. I love you all. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Please make sure to hit the like button on your way through the door. Share it out. Let everybody know we're hanging out. Come on in, guys. Like I said, it's a late night with Dago. We'll probably just do a wide open discussion and talk about what we talk about. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm wired, not even close to being tired. So what the hell? So that being said, let's do this thing and get it moving. What up? What up? What up? Welcome back, guys. It's good to see you. Thank you guys for jumping in here with me tonight. Those of you that did, I appreciate you so very much. Great to see you guys. Grab a seat, get comfortable. Let's see what we can get into. Hopefully, it's legal. Just saying. Just saying. Come on in, grab a seat. Let me see here. All right. Excuse me. Hmm. Welcome, welcome. Who we got in here with us so far? Alicia J. Hey, hey. The Tomboy's in the house. What's up, Crunchy? I ain't Crunchy. You're Crunchy. What's up, Scully Skull? Good to see you. Fettuccine, welcome back to you being here. Eddie's in the house tonight. Wow, good to see you. Willie's in the house. Welcome back, brother. Anytime, you know better. Just whatever, bro. You don't have to be up here. I understand completely, or in here. You've been going to. No problem, dude. I appreciate you stopping in. If your battery goes, your battery goes. No worries. Miss Tandy, I get to see you tonight. That's awesome. Good to have you here. Evening. Let's see. Robert, good to see you. I don't know. My phone didn't ring. I have a bad service out here, so sometimes you'll have that. Sorry about that. They pulled a car out of the Mississippi River in Minnesota and a body was in it. It is a missing. Oh, wow. Interesting, Eddie. We will take a look at that. Very interesting. Fettuccine, good to see you. I always miss you when I don't see you, Miss Tandy. Grateful to have you here. Definitely missed ya. Miss all you guys when I'm not here with you guys. Looks like so far we got 18 peeps in the house with 12 likes, guys. Make sure to hit that like button. I miss the good old days where you could buy extra battery packs for your phone and swap. Jesus, yes. Good Lord, them days were interesting, buddy. I forgot about that stuff. Welcome, Irene Clover. Good to see you. Maybe we'll look at that, what Eddie threw out there. I'm curious. It's interesting. Oh, I got you, buddy. I got you. Don't let your phone blow up on you. That's more important than hanging out here. But it is so good to see you, Bomb Toy. Thank you for being here with us, as always. Like I said, guys, when I'm not tired and I'm like wired like I am, I just this is the best thing for me to do because it makes me tired and it's what I love to do. So here I am. My wife is outside. We have company. Her uncle's been here for a week now, and they stay out late. Them Southern people sit out in the heat till they can't. So she sits out there with him till he's ready to go. So there's not much else for me to do because I ain't going out there. It's too hot for me. I'm sorry. I don't even like when it cools down. I don't like sitting out there. And that's the other side of it is because I live out in the middle of nowhere. I get attacked by mosquitoes this size of small pigeons. So I'm good. Thank you, Willie. Dropped a membership in here. Appreciate that so much, bro. It looks like Rebecca. Congratulations. Welcome to the sauce. Good to have you on board. Scribbins Error. Welcome. Good to see you. Another new name. Yes, 100%. That's why I just kind of let them have their time. You know what I mean? We spend time, all of us together too, but um, I kind of give them their own thing because that's her favorite uncle and he's getting up there in age and they deserve that. So, yeah, same thing. That's how big these ones are. These mosquitoes out here ain't no joke, folks. I have a marsh back behind my barn, and behind that there's a river that runs. So it's yeah, they will carry you away. I love the warm summer, but not the yeah. And I don't care what. Like I think they drink the spray when you spray yourself with bug spray. I think they drink it and get drunk off it. So, um, it doesn't affect them. So I just don't. I don't do well with it. That was from a 3-year-old. Anytime she gets, but yeah, I have two kids that they swelled up. They're allergic to them. From what the doctor said that they, which I thought everybody was allergic to mosquito bites, but I guess some people are way worse. Robert said they found the Zodiac killer. His name is Irk, Eark. That's a weird name. We've tried that, Tomboy. It doesn't bother them out here. It doesn't affect them at all. Yeah, they come from the river and the marsh, and they love it. They feed. They feed. They feed. Yeah, like I said, once you get out there for a few minutes, especially as soon as the sun goes down, oh my God, it's dinner time. Earl, not Eek. Earl Van Best. Oh, interesting. Have to look into that. I had no idea they figured that out. Love the river. 21 peeps, 15 likes. We're getting there. Yeah, definitely. Once the swelling comes down, it looks like the red beard. Yeah, yeah, they're bad. They can be bad too. Thank you for that info, Robert. I appreciate that. Excuse me. And again, Willie, thank you for that membership, brother. I much appreciate that. Very much so. Wow, that's sad. Poor little one. David Bird, welcome. That's what I was going to ask next. Is he still alive, Robert? They did catch the Golden State Killer, Scully. You must be too bitter, Tomboy. They don't want your blood. Come on in, guys. Get a seat. I didn't realize it, but there's a couple other people that are live too, so that could be where most everybody is. And that's okay. I got you awesome peeps here, so that's what matters. Blood's too thick. There you go. There you go. Let's see. We got. I did have a couple. I was gonna go over a court TV thing that came out. They were talking about, and of course, the Idaho stuff. It was kind of interesting. Jacob, hello and welcome again, my friend. What question do we have tonight? Question about Idaho 4 is did the perps have a backup plan if things went south, like if the other college kids in it? I don't know. That's a very interesting question, my friend. Whoever did this. Well, and you know what, Jacob? That could actually play into who this was. If it was somebody that knew that there wasn't going to be anybody else showing up by chance. You see what I'm saying? Hey, Cat K, good to see you. Golden State Killer was caught with the IgG. Oh, imagine that. Oh, Robert said no, the other guy's dead. Okay. Wonderful to see you, Miss Cat. Typically's in the house. Good to see you and all your uniqueness. Thank you for being here. But that's a good question, Jake. And like I said, it could almost actually play into who may have been responsible for this, that they may have known that nobody was going to be there because they were familiar with the people themselves. You know what I mean? Moonlit, what is happening, girl? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you're having a great night. I'm watching on my TV. Well, I hope, don't scare yourself. I'm sure my mug on your TV is a lot bigger and it's probably a lot scarier too. Don't scare yourself to death there, Miss Cat. Elizabeth, good to see you tonight, dear. Thank you for joining us. Wonderful to have you all here with us tonight. 35 of you beautiful peeps in the house. That is awesome. 21 likes. Let's try to hit that button if we can. To those who have watched the docuseries on serial killers, they always mention those that don't use guns, how exhausting it is for one to kill a single person, knife strangulation, etc. Yes. You'd think that would take a lot out of the person, Fettuccine. Molly's new sound. What new sound? Done one. Good to see you, Ginger. Welcome back. Molly's new sound. I didn't know Molly had a new sound. That's awesome. I know she put out a new song. Is that what you meant? Yeah, Molly did put out a new song. We played that the other night. It was really good. She does amazing things. I'm very proud of her. That's what I thought. That's okay, Tanny. My apologies. Yeah, guys, go check out Molly's channel if you will. She put out a new song the other day, and we played it the other night. It was really good. What's up, Midnight? Good to see you tonight. Yeah, she's doing really good things with all her music and stuff. I'm very proud of her. It was his son who figured out who he was. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I watched the Netflix thing on the the Zodiac a long time ago, and there were some things that led up to that. So good points. Good points. Mama Bear popping in to say hello and good night. Thank you for joining us, Mama Bear. I hope you sleep well, and I hope to talk to you sometime tomorrow, possibly. Welcome, Aquarian. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us. Much love, Mama Bear. I hope you didn't work too hard today. We missed ya again. Brian doesn't seem like someone that could kill even one. That's what Willie's been trying to scream, that Brian's not that guy. Welcome back, Beach Babe. Good to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us. Oh, easy there, Moonlit. No violence in here. Yeah, I haven't got to see much preseason either. I'm kind of disappointed in myself, but we won our first game, I think, so that's what matters. Let me see here. Right. Yeah, I'm telling you, he doesn't come off to me. Listen, folks, like, even with, like, oh, hell, who was it? They were talking about Danny Rolling, who is the Gainesville Ripper, inspiring Brian. They're not even close to the same type of person. BTK, they're not even close to the same type of person. You know what I mean? There's things about Brian Koberger that I can, like, looking at him. You know, you can kind of get a feeling. Ted Bundy was nothing like this. Gacy, you see these people, even Dahmer, like, you look at them and you can tell that there's something not right with them. Okay, and even not even knowing what they did, just looking at them, younger pictures of them when they were younger, like, there's something not going to be right about this person. I've never taken any pictures I've looked at, anything, any way I look at him, anything he's ever done or said in traffic stops, whatever. I don't get a feel on him like that. You can get a vibe from people. I'm just saying. Yeah. Welcome back, Jane. Good to see you. Dylan's latest statement said the guy watching Murphy and Kaylee lived in the apartment, so not BK. Oh, yeah? I heard that he did, and I'd like to know how and where he got him from. That was another thing I was thinking about reviewing. As much as he irritates me, he was putting some information out, so. Bundy did hide it, but you could still tell that something was off about Bundy. You know what I mean? Not to mention he didn't. It's how it's kind of hard to kill two people at one time, folks, in my opinion. So, like, looking at Devil's Den, dude. Yeah, that dude is. Oh my God, Eddie. The first picture I saw of him, I was like, okay. And you guys let this guy be a teacher? The dude's scary looking. You know what I mean? Definitely. Maybe we'll check out what Brian Enton was talking about and see. As much as it hurts me, I'm gonna see what maybe he's talking about with his docs he's got. I wonder if they dropped any more on the link then. Let me look at something real quick. Hang on one second. Okay, so there's nothing new with the Moscow link, so I don't know where he's getting his from. I guess we'll find out. Bear with me, folks. I know it's gonna be hard. A lot of people are just done with him, but you know, if he's gonna give some information, I want to. I'll deal with him to get the info. Let's see what he's got to say here. Hey, Bianca, good to see you, dear. Thank you for joining us.
At Staples because there were so many, with so much to go through on the computer. I'm going to go through what's new here. So many new accounts of people that I didn't know about at Washington State University who are complaining about Brian Koberger, who were creeped out by Brian Koberger. I've got those interviews in the new reports. Also, the most detailed account from surviving roommate Dylan Mortensen that I've seen yet. I'm going to break it all down for you in this episode of Brian Ensign Investigates.
Hey guys, so
Welcome,
I have
Amber.
the 600 pages of new police reports from Idaho State Police that were just released.
Aha. All right, so this is from Idaho. Bingo. That's where I need to get these from, is the Idaho State Police site. So I will have those hopefully soon, and we can go through them on that aspect as well. Welcome, Irene Clobber. Welcome back. Good to see you. Yep, Midnight ISP. Bingo. So I'll listen to what he's talking about tonight for a little bit, and then I will go get them myself.
Released as part of the Brian Koberger case. Obviously, now that the sentencing has happened, the gag order is lifted, all of these agencies are starting to release these reports. So I have 600 pages here. A lot of it is redacted, so bear with me. I figured the best way to do this was just to sort of read through the reports, read them to you so you can hear them for yourselves rather than me trying to summarize a lot of it. I went through everything one time and pulled the things that I thought were most interesting and new. But what I saw with the Moscow reports is I kind of had to go through them a couple times just because there's so much. So this is going to sort of be my first pass at it. And then maybe I'll do a future episode where I, go back to some other nuggets. But I want to start with, this is the narrative. The roommate, Dylan Mortensen, she gave a very detailed account to police. And we a lot of this stuff is going to be stuff that we know the basics, but now we have the detail. So I'm going to read you Dylan's account of what she told the police when she was first interviewed. And then I'm going to get to, just so you know what else is coming up, there's a ton of reports from people who were in class with Brian Koberger at Washington State and colleagues of his who are also in the PhD program. Just really disturbing stuff. I knew some of this, that they thought he was sexist and that he was rude to women in class, but this goes much deeper. So I'm also going to.
Well, he probably handpicked the ones that do make Brian look bad, so be prepared. This is another guilter, so you know how they do that. Good point, David.
I'm going to get to that after I read you this, what Dylan Mortensen said during her interview. So I'm a little sick. So let me cough first. All right. This is Dylan when she talked to police. She advised around 4 a.m. or 4:20 a.m. She heard Kaylee singing and playing music. She heard who she believed Kaylee was walking up the stairs, and blank advised she heard Kaylee say, "Someone's here." She sounded frantic. And they don't name Dylan here, but I've just pieced together that that's who it is. Blank described Kaylee's tone as somewhere between talking and yelling. She believed it was Kaylee who was walking up the stairs with Murphy. She said she heard who she believed to be Kaylee running down the stairs. She advised Murphy was barking at this time. She does not believe Murphy is normally a barker. She further stated she believed it was Kaylee who was running down the stairs after she heard her say, "Someone is here." She further explained she does not know if she actually heard this or whether she was drunk and did not actually hear any of this. She heard the footsteps of who she believed to be Kaylee. She explained all the girls wear Doc Martens and that this is what she believed she was wearing, what she was hearing Kaylee coming down the stairs wearing, her Doc Martens, because of the sound of the footsteps coming down the stairs. Blank called Blank at 4:19 a.m., then Xana at 4:20 a.m., Kaylee at 4:20 a.m., and then Blank again at 4:20 a.m. Blank advised, Blank told her about seeing fireworks. She texted blank last time at 4:27 a.m. before she went to blank's room. Blank then explained when she first opened her door and said she did not see anyone. The second time when she opened the door, she heard who she believed to be Kaylee crying, and blank believed Kaylee was in the second floor bathroom. She then heard a male voice, which she stated she had never heard before, say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Blank believed the unidentified male was in the bathroom and with the person who was crying. She believes it was Kaylee who was the one crying. Blank stated that now, sorry, so there's some typos, but blank stated that now she has gathered additional information and now believes it was probably Xana who was crying. At the moment of hearing the crying, she stated she believed it was Kaylee who was crying. She advised she knows the male's voice was not Ethan's. She described the last episode of Vampire Diaries, and she remembered it was two males rescuing a female. She explained it was not violent. She advised the male figure in the last episode was wearing all black, but blank explained that that was normal for the series. Apparently, they had been watching that. She's not certain whether she heard Murphy barking during the first time she opened her door, but she advised it was possible he was barking, but Murphy was moving away from the house. She described Murphy was a puppy, and blank had just met him in August. She could not describe Murphy as being skittish. She advised she opened and closed her door a total of 3 times, and the fourth time is when she left her bedroom to go downstairs to blank's bedroom. Blank advised she continued to call and text her roommates, but received no answer.
Exactly, Eddie. Huge difference and very good point, sir. Very good point.
She provided the times she called and texted her roommates, and the time span she advised would have been between 4:20 a.m. and 4:27 a.m. She advised she never thought about an intruder, and in her mind, she stated she was not processing what was occurring as threatening. She's not processing it as threatening. She advised she believed the male was directing his conversation of who she believed was Kaylee. She advised she did not believe the male was directing that statement to her. In discussing why the offender did not harm her, it was discussed that it was possible the male knew her and wanted to protect her. And she said she understood that that was possible, but she denied knowing who the suspect was. Blank further explained she Snapchatted Ethan but received no answer from Ethan. Blank thought Ethan was still either at blank Chi, Sigma Chi, or was at home. She was not certain. The first time Blank opened the door, she said her vision was blurry or fuzzy, but she advised she saw a figure of someone that was dressed in all black, and they were masked, and he was holding an item of what she initially perceived was a vacuum, but she said that did not make sense to her. She described the suspect as not being muscular, but being skinny and toned like a basketball player. She further described him as being taller than 5'10" frame by at least 3 inches, so he would have been 6 feet in height. She advised he had to have her call Kaylee and Xana, and she advised he had to have heard her call Kaylee and Xana, and she thought he would have had to have heard her calling for them, and she was confused as to why he did not come to her room. A lot of us have had questions about that. She described the item the suspect was holding, which was advised was like a cylinder, as she remembered a cop talking about how a bow. She was trying to ascertain if what she saw was in fact shaped like a bow. Further stated she thought that maybe it was a firefighter because of what Blank told her about seeing a firecracker. She advised he would have been approximately interesting the firecracker thing, by the way, 3 feet away from her, and she believed she saw him walking out the back sliding glass door. He had looked at her before walking out the back door. She was not certain if he could see her whole body or just her head. At 4:22 a.m., then Blank corrected her time and stated actually 4:23 a.m. She advised she texted Blank and they conversed about someone wearing all black, and Blank said something to the effect of, "What the F, why is Xana wearing all black?" Blank explained she was not certain if she had been dreaming this or if it was real. Blank explained she saw the suspect holding something she believed to be cylinder-shaped and also shaped like a triangle at the bottom of the shape, at the cylinder shape. She advised the suspect was approximately 3 feet away from her, and he looked at her but was walking out the sliding door when she saw him. She said she saw his eyebrows. At approximately 4:23 a.m., she texted Blank to tell her she saw a masked suspect in their house. Blank responded at approximately 4:25 a.m., telling her to come to her Blank bedroom and that it's better than being alone. Blank then left her bedroom after opening the door the 4th time and ran to Blank's bedroom downstairs. Again, this is Dylan and Bethany, but they've redacted. Blank advised when she left her bedroom, she looked down the hallway to Xana's bedroom, and she could see Xana lying on her back in her underwear, but she thought at that time Xana was passed out. Blank stated she never went to Xana's bedroom, and she could only see Xana from the hallway as she was running to get to Blank's bedroom, Dylan to Bethany's bedroom. She advised she was too scared to go into Xana's bedroom, and she knew Blank was awake, and she knew to go there because she was scared. She saw Xana was wearing her underwear, and she explained Xana was comfortable enough with the roommates that she would wear her underwear around them, so this was not unusual. When asked about the lighting conditions inside the residence, she advised that possibly Xana's light was on or the party lights were on, and that is how she was able to see Xana, because otherwise she would not have been able to see her lying on the floor without any lights being on. She was not certain if the bathroom...
Yeah, Borg. These are from the just like when I read you guys all the reports from Moscow. These are the ones from ISP now. Same thing.
Lights were on, but she was not certain what lights were on, if any. She advised Xana did not say anything. Blank stated she did not think anything was wrong, so still didn't think anything was wrong. She later offered she may have been able to see Xana lying on the floor because they also had a Sensi light, and it could have been she was able to see Xana from the Sensi light. She explained she's been trying to determine what was real from everything that she had been talking about with Sergeant Blaker and myself. She advised she knew at the time with Blank, Kaylee, and Maddie were real because she has seen the video of them together. So there's video. She was not certain how Blank got home that day. She further explained she'd been trying to piece things together because some things do not make sense to her. She stated that she is being truthful, but some of what she's been discussing, she's not certain is factual. She has been working through it, trying to remember what happened. Blank was asked if the female who was crying was saying anything, and she advised no, the female was only crying and the male was the only one talking. She described the item the suspect was holding as cylinder-shaped and was also triangular-shaped. She could not remember if the lights were on or off when she encountered the male suspect. She advised she does not know if this is even something she saw or it was something she dreamed. She advised the last time she saw Xana was at Blank House at approximately 11:04 p.m., confirmed this by checking her cell phone. Xana had been holding a white claw. She was at Blank at 12:49 a.m. That part I don't really understand. She further advised Xana and Ethan did not stay at Ethan's house with any frequency because of Ethan's grades. He could not reside at the fraternity. He had his own apartment, but she does not know where his apartment is because she had never been there. She knows Kaylee and Maddie were home when she went to bed, and Blank and from when she saw Xana lying on the floor, but she's not certain about whether Ethan was home. Stated she is certain at 3:11 a.m., Kaylee, Maddie, and she were all in the house. She was not certain about Xana and Ethan because she does not know when they came home. She denied perceiving a threat even after encountering the male in the hallway. So she denied perceiving a threat even after encountering the male in the hallway. She said there were people coming in and out of their house all the time. She denied remembering what his face looked like and said she could see that his head and mouth were covered, but she could not see his eyebrows, and further advised she was not certain she could see his nose. When asked, and she couldn't see, it says there she couldn't see his eyebrows. When asked if she knew what a balaclava was, she said no. So I asked Sergeant Blaker to show her a picture of a balaclava from his cell phone, and upon looking at the picture of a balaclava, she stated that could have been it. She does not remember seeing his mouth or nose, but she could see his eyebrows. Now, when asked if any of her roommates told her about prior incidents involving anything that concerned them, she advised Kaylee had told them Blank and the other roommates about an incident among...
These are, Joanne, the ISP docs. Just like Moscow dropped the reports, this is ISP's version of this. Welcome, Karen. Thank you for joining us.
Prior, when she was outside with Murphy about a subject who had been watching her. The subject was in the apartments above the girl's residence. Blank further explained that 2 to 3 weeks ago, while at Winco, Kaylee told her about a male subject who followed her from the Winco store, all the way to Kaylee's car. Even when Kaylee went to leave, the subject was standing by Kaylee's car. We've heard about that incident before. Also, 2 to 3 weeks ago, all of the roommates went to Starbucks together, and when they got home, their front door was wide open, and they do not believe it had been open when they left. She explained there were prior issues with the front door, so she said it was possible the door opened because there had been a snowstorm, and she explained possibly the wind caused the door to open. Also, when they got home, the washer was going, which she described was not unusual, but this also concerned her. She explained because of these things, they went to get Ethan's golf clubs to protect themselves when they searched the house. Blank explained weeks prior to the 13th, Kaylee told the roommate she heard a woman scream.
Okay, so that was interesting. They went to get Ethan's golf clubs to protect themselves with. Huh. That's all I'm going to say.
Scream, but no one else heard it. Blank was asked if she was telling either Sergeant Baker or I anything to prevent us from solving this, and she advised no, that she understood my question, and she advised that she knew she did not sleep through the whole incident because she has texted communications and other things, and she knows
Yes, a beanbag gun does have a muzzle flash.
that they would have required her to be awake. She advised she knows what she heard, especially about hearing who she believes was Kaylee crying and the male voice telling her that he was there for her. Interesting. She stated again she does not know how much of what she has been telling us was not factual because she's still processing the events. When asked why she believes she was spared after the male suspect saw her, she said she does not know why, and she does not believe anyone ever tried to open the door during the time he was in the house, and he could have easily have done so. And why would he have passed by her room multiple times? She volunteered that to come through the sliding glass door, the person would have had to have scaled a tall wall. She advised the suspect would have known her room would have been occupied because he appeared to have known the layout of the house. She also said it could have been someone who was in the house last year when the other girls were living in the house. She advised there was no one she knows who could have wanted.
No, I didn't know that circus music. Interesting. Not surprised, but interesting.
To hurt the girls, and the girls were loved by everyone. She said she had never heard rumors which were negative about any of the victims. When asked about Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, advised the breakup was mutual and they have their dog Murphy in common. And then she brought up some other names. She offered her DNA. She advised there might be difficult to locate the offender's DNA because they had conducted a deep clean of their residence leading up to the parents' weekend. Let's see. Some of this I'm reading for the first time, so bear with me. When asked if she could able to provide a description of to a police artist, like a sketch artist, she said she would not be able to describe enough of the suspect to be helpful. She further advised the only thing she remembered about his face was his eyebrows were bushy. So that's where the bushy eyebrows came from. She advises she was confused about why the offender would have taken the patio door out of the residence because of the drop off from the patio. She advised she remembers that cars do come by their residence a lot, and she said there was a black truck driving past the window, and she further said she was not absolutely certain that it was a black truck and apparently was confused. When asked what occurred after she went to Blank's bedroom, she said they eventually fell asleep. She advised a friend of theirs was planning a memorial event, and that's helped her emotionally because at this point she's obviously dealing with everything. Let's see. When she awakened that morning, Blank was next to her in bed. We know that was Bethany. They were both too scared to leave the room to even go to the bathroom. 11:23 a.m., 10:23 a.m. said she texted Maddie. We knew about these text messages. Then explained when she reached out to Blank in the text message, which Blank told her it was 10:50 a.m., but she thinks Blank was mistaken, told her she would send to their house. Sorry, there's a lot redacted here. It's hard to understand. She advised they stayed in the house when the police arrived and the police were putting the tape up. Then they realized there had been a crime. And when they saw the ambulance arrive and leave, Blank told them they would not leave unless there was no reason to stay. She then advised said that the vandal alert came out. And that's when they realized that their friends were actually gone. When asked if she checked the house for anyone else when she initially came home that night with Blank, and she was asked if she had to unlock the front door, and she advised she believed she had to unlock the front door to get into the residence. She advised when she first got home, she remembered the sliding door was closed, but she did not know if it was locked. She advised when she first got home, she went to Kaylee's bedroom to let Murphy out of Kaylee's room, and Kaylee's lights were on, and no one was in Kaylee's room. Murphy came back into the house after going outside. So first of all, my heart goes out to Dylan. I mean, I know I read all of that kind of fast and unemotionally, but you just imagine what she must have been going through during this police interview and what she's still going through. So that's really the most detailed statement of Dylan's that we have heard to yet that's now been released in this report. So again, lastly, I'm going to get to which was among the craziest to me, all the reports from the other students who were in class with Brian Koberger. But I want to read you some of this. This is a detailed police report about what officers saw when they first went into the scene. At noon, NPD was dispatched to an unconscious person inside the residence. When they arrived, 2 household occupants identified as blank and blank, along with 2 other females and 1 male, were outside the residence. The male identified blank stated when he had entered the house, he grabbed the knife from the kitchen and cleared the first and second floors, which we knew about this, and then placed the knife on a table inside the living room. When officers entered the house, they found 2 deceased residents, Kernodle and Chapin, inside a bedroom on the 2nd floor. The officers also found 2 more deceased residents, Gonsalves and Mogan, in a bedroom on the 3rd floor. All the victims appeared to have multiple stab wounds. The sliding glass doors located in the kitchen, 2nd floor rear of house, was open, and there was a set of footprints in the melting snow leading into and away from the residence. So footprints. There was 1 shoe print near the western edge of the property leading west into a neighbor's yard. In the front of the residence north were 5 vehicles belonging to the deceased residents. Sometime in the early morning hours, Blank was awoken and opened her room door and heard a male say, "It's okay, Kaylee, I'm here for you," and crying. She then shut her door. A short while later.
Okay, so that's 6 different stories we've heard now from Dylan. That's a whole different. Listen to that again.
A male say, "It's okay, Kaylee, I'm here for you," and crying. She then shut her door. A short while later, she opened her door again and saw someone apparently 5'10" tall, dressed in all black with a ski mask, standing in the kitchen. She made eye contact with the person and could see they were Caucasian through the cutouts of the eyes.
That is the first time that there's ever been a name put with that. It's okay, Kaylee, I'm here to help you. And that was a male's voice. Okay.
Shut her door again and texted Blank, whose bedroom is on the blank, told her to join her in her room, and Blank ran downstairs where they fell asleep. Let me see if there's anything else interesting here. They just go through really describing the whole, I could see a female, from the living room looking into the west bedroom, I could see a female Kernodle lying near the center of the room. Her legs and arms appeared to be covered in blood. As I entered the bedroom, I saw multiple drops of red liquid near the entrance and multiple red-colored drips on the door above and below the doorknob. A male, Chapin, was laying in the bed, partially covered with a blanket and comforter. His neck and chest were heavily covered in a red liquid. Multiple walls appeared to have red-colored cast off, and there were multiple areas on the floor with pools of red-colored liquid. So all of this is just awful to hear about. They talk about sort of the condition of all the different rooms. As I walked south up the stairs, they switched back and forth. On the center wall banister were red-colored liquid smears. They appeared to be blood smears. At the top of the stairs was a small hallway. Directly to the left was a bedroom, Gonsalves's. The bedroom was clean and the bed unmade, and a black-colored coat laying on the ground next to the bed on the left side. On the right side, east of the hallway, it ended with a bathroom. As I entered the bedroom, there was a bed directly to the left. On the bed were Gonsalves's and Mogan. They were covered by a beige-colored comforter with a large pool of red liquid near the center of the comforter. Multiple walls and the ceiling had multiple areas of red-colored cast off. It's just awful. Mogan had multiple visible cuts on her face. Gonsalves had severe trauma to her face and visible cuts with a large amount of dried red-colored liquid on her face, though there appeared to be aspirated blood coming from her mouth. It's just also awful. Near Mogan's left hip was a tan-colored leather sheath, partially covered by the comforter. So there's the sheath.
Okay, so why is it that Moscow, who found this, couldn't say that, but they did in that report? A partially covered by the comforter. Okay.
On the door edge, I saw multiple red-colored transfer smears. The upper mark was at approximately my shoulder height. All the red-colored liquids were in the room were consistent with blood. And then it goes through basically all the different pieces of evidence that they took from the house. So that's the detailed report on when officers.
Yeah, I'm going to get this stuff, guys. Don't worry. I'm going to get them all just like he does. And we're going to go over them from word for word, just like we did with Moscow's. I just have to find them. It's very hard to find them. So just give me a little time. We'll get them. Hopefully, I'll have them by tomorrow. I know he can't read something that's not true. Okay. But he said he went through it and he picked out the ones probably that he probably picked and sorted through the ones that don't say anything other than what it's believed Brian had a part of. Okay. So, and I want to be able to give you guys dates and actual, like I did with the Moscow stuff. So we'll just listen to him do his thing. And then like I said, I'll be digging for these all night and in the morning trying to find them. And I'm sure I'll get my, the people in my crew that stay up late to try to help me find them too.
First went into the house. So again, there's a lot for me to get to in all of these reports. And I'm gonna have to do more episodes because there's other interesting details. But the last thing I wanted to get to today is, and there's a lot of them, so I'll try to go through not everything, but these are all people who were at Washington State University, whether they were staff or other students with Brian Kohberger who complained.
See, there it is right there. That's what he followed up with. That's the narrative he wants to keep going with. And he's going to read all these complaints that were made about Brian, supposedly.
About Brian Kohberger. Let me see here.
That's a good point, Midnight. He's not reading the date. That's why I want to get him so I can read the exact date and give you word for word because I don't trust him. I don't.
Let me start here. This interview is conducted, and all of this is redacted, so bear with me. But this was someone
Good point,
contacted
Rhoda.
Brian Kohberger because Kohberger was a student seeking criminal justice doctorate. They had met several times to discuss requirements for Kohberger's doctorate studies. So it sounds like a staff member. They'd met twice in social settings. Described Kohberger as socially awkward around people. He did not see any other behavior that he thought was odd, but did tell Kohberger was removed. This is someone in Pullman, Washington, also someone associated with Washington State University.
What's the date of this document, though, Brian? That's the thing. Were these statements made after Brian was arrested or accused? I'm gonna bet on it. Okay, just saying.
Said she held this, so she worked there, had held a position for blank amount of years. During the normal course of her duties, she regularly interacted with Kohberger. This occurred during new student course orientation. She described her initial reaction to Kohberger as ordinary, noting he came across as lonely, and that Kohberger's home state of Pennsylvania they would strike up conversations about that. As weeks progressed, Kohberger would hang out in the hallways outside her office, described Kohberger as creepy, and he would simply stand at her desk and stare at her to her coworker. At one stage,
I don't believe this. That's what I'm saying. This is all narrative driving. That's all this is. Who the hell does this? Okay, who stands and stares at people? Brian's not like that, folks. I mean, this is such bullshit.
Blocking the coworker in her desk area. He would also follow them out to their cars at the end of the day. He continued behavior that resulted in some kind of meeting happening. Said complaints from faculty members, administrative staff, and other students was referred to blank. These complaints referenced his rude and belittling behavior toward women and his unprofessional rude dealings with his blank.
I'm done with that. Sorry. I think, Matt, that it came out. Oh, you're back in here. Okay. I think that it a lot of this stuff was stated after. Okay. A lot of these insinuations and a lot of these statements, I'm going to guess, were made after Brian was accused of this, and nobody complained about it before they realized that he was the person that was accused of this. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how I've seen this. That's so stupid. He stood there and stared at them. Are you kidding me? It's a joke. It's a joke. You see, he picked out specifically anything that is derogatory about Brian. That's exactly what he did. And I'm not going to sit and listen to that. I've heard enough of that over 2.5 years. Okay. I know what people think of him. I want to hear factual pieces of information that ISP recorded. You're not going to read that. And that's, see, as he picked through all 600 of these documents, that's what he could come up with. That's a damn shame. Because it tells me that I bet you there's a whole bunch more shit in there that doesn't follow that narrative, that he doesn't want to read out loud. I'm going to find it and I'm going to read it to you. This is ignorant. It's pure ignorance. It's all it is. Let's see here. What a joke. It's going to drive me nuts until I find these, you guys. Actually, yeah, there is. So the person that I was going to be able to interview, Casey, the first person that was basically, I call her kind of like his first girlfriend or whatever. They were very good friends, and I think they dated. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, the reason why I'm not going to do an interview with her is because she just got a new job, and she kind of fears that if she were to come out and speak now, she'd be ridiculed, and she worries about losing the job. When she did her interview with MSM, they completely, and she explained this to Willie, they completely cut anything positive she said about him out of the interview, every bit of it, and put nothing but negative shit in there. What does that say to anybody? And there are a lot of good things to be said about him. He saved somebody's woman's life one time, Matt. That sounds like somebody that wants to kill people would something they would do. They would save a woman's life just to later go murder people. He was a very smart person. I'm sure there's a lot of other good things to say about him too. And she did make good statements about him that they fully and completely redacted from that interview. Why do you have to do that? It's bullshit. Just saying. That's it right there. Report the facts, leave the interpretation up to the viewers to perceive it their way. I don't understand why you don't understand this. I don't get it. Why would someone plead guilty? Why have thousands of other people done that, Matt? Or Jeff or whoever you are? Why would thousands of people do that? Yeah, he installed cameras in front of his house to help because she was having break-ins. Really? He overcame a drug addiction. He lost a massive amount of weight. He earned multiple degrees. Those are all good things. Oh, I'm sure. I'm probably Eddie. No worries. I can play right back. So, but still, those are good things that he achieved, which is another reason why I've always struggled to understand why somebody that has achieved all of that, overcome all of those things, goes and gets a multiple degrees, working on a doctorate in something that he's accused of in crime. So you're going to do all of that just to throw all that away by murdering 4 people. That's what makes zero sense to me. I'm going to waste my whole life going to school, overcoming a heroin addiction, losing all the weight that he did, and all of those things to become a better person, to throw all that away to become a murderer. Does that make any actual sense to anybody psychologically? No, it doesn't. But anybody that thinks that he did it just because he admitted to it, if you followed the trial, or I'm sorry, the hearings and the case itself, you would see that they basically backed this man into a corner along with his defense team, and gave them no other choice to do anything. So I would have probably, in my opinion, if my attorney came to me and said, we're not going to make this, it's not going to happen. They're not giving us any options. They're not giving us any choices. This is what I believe your best bet would be. And we'll see. We'll see if that happens. But I would do it too. That's just my opinion. Yeah, exactly, Borg. And see, that's another thing. As Brian comes off to me as somebody that is kind of, and Willie even stated that he was known for that in some aspects, to be kind of a, I don't want to say a perfectionist, but due to OCD, which is something I have, that would complete things to a, like completed things and did things to almost a fault to make sure it was done the best possible way. Okay. And follow through with things completely too. So the mistakes that were made in the crime don't match to him with the OCD and things like that. There's just multiple things, folks, multiple things that point away from him. And like Willie says, he's just not that guy. Willie did an interview with Rich, somebody that was friends with him. And again, the things that were stated, it's not that guy. So, okay. And I've heard people change, things happen. This, okay, fine. That's fine. Put all that aside about him. The way that they got to him is illegal. It's unconstitutional. And everything else that went on, they lied to us through the whole case. And to them, they lied to them. And they connived and cheated and twisted and turned every bit of this. Once again, these things all point away from him. Then that's his choice, Matt. That's it. And people like you will be happy. You'll have what you think is your way, and that'll be the end of it. That's all. I'm not going to play into the conversation and because I know what people like you want is for me to get all worked up and start screaming and yelling. It's not going to happen. So have a good day, sir. On we go with the other one I was going to look at, guys, tonight and review. That that's a joke to me, but I'm going to work on finding these. Let me see here. I'm going to work on finding these documents hopefully by tomorrow so we can actually review and cover these. I've been looking for a little while now and I cannot come up with them. But I will do my damnedest to get it done. So moving on. The other... Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I just had it earlier. Sorry. Oh, that was the other one too. Supposedly, Bill did another interview and explained why Brian got a plea deal. That's the one I did want to review with you guys for sure. Give me a minute here. This was with Court TV, so it's not like the East Idaho one. If he can do it, Borg, I'm down with it. Anybody that can pull it off, I'm down with it. Hey, Hemisphere, good to see you. Could they use BK's autism as a form of manipulation against B? I don't think so. But we'll see. If it gets brought up again, then it'll probably be talked about. Yes, that's true. That is true, Daniel. Thank you. I did find that out. The recent documents do not confirm any evidence that Brian was throwing his trash in a neighbor's trash bin. They assumed because they couldn't find any of his DNA on any of the trash that was pulled. So that was an assumption. It was never a factual piece of information that they had. How about that? Surprise. Oh, yeah, he's definitely good at lying, Eddie. He's a manipulator for sure. All right, let me see here. Let's check it out.
Murders of 4 University of Idaho students shattered a community. Kelly Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were found stabbed to death in their off-campus home. The scene drenched in chaos and terror. Investigators quickly honed in on the killer, a criminology student whose alleged movements were captured in chilling surveillance footage. The Lake Charles County Prosecutor's Office built a mountain of evidence, DNA, phone records, and eyewitness accounts. Yet, in a stunning twist, a plea deal was offered. Why? Tonight, the prosecutor answers that question. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And we've got some really interesting things to talk about tonight. And we begin with the worst of the worst. You know who I'm talking about. The killer, the man who took the lives of 4 University of Idaho students. Tonight, I'll refer to him as BK. Okay? Refer to him as BK. Worst of the worst, right? This is someone who seemingly, for whatever reason, we're still trying to figure out, took the lives of 4 innocent young people. Wiped them out. For no reason. Now, you try to get inside the mind of the killer. It's difficult sometimes. Sometimes you can, sometimes they allow you in. But the thing that's clear is that there was nothing about this mass murder that was anything other than evil. Like this is when you write a death penalty statute in a death penalty state like Idaho, that's the kind of guy you've got in the back of your mind, right? The worst of the worst, an evil person, someone that would prey upon young people, a mass murderer, a psychopath, a potential serial killer. That's who you send to death row, right? That's who you send there. Now, Idaho has the death penalty, and you would think that's what it's reserved for, the absolute worst of the worst. As a matter of fact, Chad Daybell, he's on death row. He's pretty bad, to say the least. All the carnage that he caused, his loving, trusting wife, the children of his second wife. This is a bad dude, and he ended up on death row where he belongs. Lori Daybell should likely be there as well, but prosecutors messed up, so she wasn't eligible for it at trial. But this guy, BK, got a deal. But why did he get a deal? Why did the prosecutor say, okay, I understand this is the most notorious killer I've ever prosecuted, probably the most notorious killer in the history of the state of Idaho, public enemy number 1, scared everyone, sent fear, brutalized these innocent young victims who did absolutely nothing wrong, but he's going to get a deal. And we've been asking why? Well, tonight we're going to get some sort of an answer because Don Nelson from Scripps News Group interviewed Bill Thompson. We're going to play a bunch of pieces of that interview to get some more insight into this case, the evidence. But let's begin here with the plea deal. Why did the prosecutor make the decision to cut a break to BK? Take a listen.
The talk of a plea deal. When did that first arise? Or as a prosecutor, do you always put that on the table on a death penalty case like this?
No, we were not looking for a plea in this case. We were on track for trial. Ashley and Josh and I have been working 7 days a week for several months, getting ready for trial. We were in court. If you'll probably remember, we were in court on June 18th, and Judge Hippler heard arguments on the defense's request to continue the trial and also a request to offer evidence, alternate perpetrator evidence, which essentially means they wanted to point the finger at somebody else. And the judge made it quite clear in court that he was not going to deny, or that he was not going to grant. The judge made it quite clear he was not going to grant either of those motions. It was that following week that we were contacted by the defense with a question of whether we were in a position to make an offer. Our immediate response was to throw the question back at the defense and say, well, what is the defendant willing to do? And then we, at the same time, scheduled meetings with families of all the victims. We met with them, looking at my calendar here, Thursday and Friday, June 26th and 27th. We met with representatives of all the families, and we told them about the update of the status. We gave them an update on the status of the case. And then we told them that the defense had approached us about a possible plea, and that before we made a decision, we wanted to hear everybody's thoughts on the parameters of a possible plea offer if we wanted to make a plea offer. So we heard from them. As you can imagine, there was quite a range of opinions. There were.
Where'd you find that info at, Diane, about the written complaint? I never saw that. Where'd you find that at, hon?
A number of family members who expressed they really wanted to be able to put this case to rest with finality and certainty, and avoid the trauma and uncertainty of a trial. There were also family members who very strongly felt that the case should pursue the death penalty, no matter how long it might take to get an imposition of a death penalty. So with that information, the attorney team, we met and talked it over, and we decided to make the offer, which was the only offer that was possible to be considered, and that would be he would have to plead guilty as charged to all 5 felonies. He would have to agree to waive appeals. That was crucially important because we wanted finality for these victims' families and not have them suffer from endless appeals, just re-victimizing themselves. And we made it clear that we would be looking at fixed life sentences so that he would not leave prison until he died. The defense came back to us that Monday morning, contacted us and Judge Hippler, and said he's prepared to proceed and plead guilty, and Judge Hippler put it on the calendar for July 2nd.
That's the explanation. And
you,
we knew the families were somewhat split, and he is conceding there that it was the lawyers that decided that they did not want to go forward with this. It was the lawyers who decided to give a break to the most notorious killer that they'll ever prosecute in their careers. Let me bring in our think tank, see what they have to say about this. You're kind of reading between the lines with me on this one, right? Criminal defense attorney Sidney Rushing is with us. Also with us, trial attorney, former police lieutenant Rick King, along with attorney Ali Benevento. Great to see everyone tonight. Thank you for being here. All right, Sidney, okay. So this wasn't a matter of what the families wanted or didn't want, because they were absolutely split. They were all over the place. This was the decision of the prosecuting attorneys. Isn't their job to try cases?
Yes, their job is to try cases, but also at the same time, it's when I tell my clients who are, defendants in this case, usually, sometimes there comes a point where you have to think about risk management. And for the family, this gives them, not only does it give them closure, but it gives them finality. This plea deal made it to where he gave up his appellate rights. Now, that doesn't mean all of them, but for the most part, it does. And with that, they get to close the door on this. If he would have went to trial and found guilty, they would have to then have another, mini trial essentially for the death penalty to be given. And then imagine the amount of motions in hearings he's going to have between then and whenever his death day would come. The family would be in court over and over and over and reliving this story. So yes, it is the prosecutor's job to go to trial, but at the same point, he got the end that he wanted here, which was a conviction, and for BK to go to prison for the rest of his life. He will never be released.
Yeah, but I'm still not buying the reason, Rick. I'm not buying. It's not. There's no such thing as finality in our system. We know that. It was supposed to be finality, by the way, for the Menendez brothers, right? They didn't go to death row. Life in prison. They're never getting out, ladies and gentlemen. No, they're getting out. We know that's going to happen. So there's never finality. The law could change. There could be a point in this country, Rick, right? We don't know what's going to happen 20 years down the road, where all of a sudden life in prison is cruel and unusual punishment because we have some bleeding heart liberals on the Supreme Court of the United States. That could happen. That could happen. That could happen, right? Here's the thing. No, but it could happen, Rick. The only finality is the death penalty, if you're going to talk about absolute finality, when that day comes. Oh, that's the only real finality. Why do you think they did it? Did they just? Was there a risk here? The evidence was pretty overwhelming, I believe. It was overwhelming enough that he's willing to plead guilty, knowing how overwhelming it is.
Yeah, I think sometimes, Vinny, even more than the risk of trial, sometimes it's taking the family through that process again.
Wait, Rick, the families were split. It didn't come down to the families. Families were split. Half of them get it done. The other half, let's go forward. So we can't put it on the families. We can't put it on the families.
Yeah,
and they were split. So
I don't think you can put it on the families fully, but it's at the same time, I think you take into consideration medical examiner photos, crime scene photos, testimony from people who were there. All those things, the families reliving that over and over, and prosecutors, while the families were split, that still has to weigh on them. And I still think that they take a look at that and they go, here's a guy who the evidence is overwhelming. He's going to plead guilty. He's going to do every single day of the rest of his life in prison. And
probably
these families aren't and these families aren't going to be, drugged through that endless torture again. I think that was, to me, I believe that has to be some sort of a reasoning behind what the prosecutors did here.
Yeah, the other thing about throwing away the appeals, and we know, Allie, that it's not every appeal. There'll be habeas motions. You can't predict all the things that are going to happen. Like, be a realist in our system. The families should know that it's not final. Nothing is final, right? They have to understand that. They may not, because hopefully this is the first time they've ever been involved with the criminal justice system. But I know from covering this stuff for years, it's never over. It's never over until they are dead, either passing away in prison, then they can't file any more motions, or the death penalty when it's over. That's the only time it's ever actually over. Allie, what are your thoughts here? Why do you think they made this decision? What do you think the truth is? Did they not want to try the case?
So you're right. Nothing is ever final until it's final. But let's not forget, everybody here are trial lawyers, I believe. We all try cases, and we know that there is nothing as unpredictable sometimes as a jury. And so let us not fool ourselves into believing that this was a certainty of conviction. And then, as Sydney was saying, a certainty that the death penalty would be imposed if they got to the penalty phase of the trial. And so why did they make the decision? I think we listened to what he just said. He spoke to the families. They were approached by the defense. This was an opportunity to have some semblance of certainty, some semblance of peace for these families, closure. And I think at the end of the day, the prosecutor does not work for the victims. Yes, they must take the victims' wishes into consideration, but their job is to do justice, to be efficient with the resources of the state of Idaho, and to do what they believe is a just outcome in the case. And I think this gave them not a perfect solution, but this gave them a good solution, because nothing is ever certain when it comes to putting a jury in the box.
All right. All I'm saying, from this point forward, every killer gets the offer. If there's no one, I can't imagine someone's going to be more notorious or worse than this guy. Every killer's got to get the offer now. That's all. They go in, they know. There is no death penalty out there. There is no deterrent in Latah County, because you know you're going to get an offer of life, because they don't want to.
Well, when you have a prosecutor that doesn't like the death penalty, he shouldn't be prosecuting a death penalty case. I'm sorry, because that's part of the problem.
Tried the cases. Let's take a listen to a little bit more here from the prosecutor, talking again about the families.
We absolutely understand how everybody grieves differently. We understand and recognize that there are family members who don't agree with the resolution that has occurred, and I respect that. They are entitled to feel as they wish about this, and I respect the fact. I'm glad for the fact they were able to express themselves to the judge at the time of sentencing. In the end, it was our decision. Actually, in the end, ultimately, it was my decision as the elected prosecutor. And we are satisfied, our attorney team, our prosecution team, our law enforcement team, we are all satisfied that we made the right decision. Understanding that there are people who legitimately and for good reasons don't agree with what our decision was.
Have any family members, parents, siblings, aunts, uncles reached out to you since that day in Ada County when the door was shut, Mr. Koberger?
Yes, we've heard from some of the families. The families that we've heard from directly have all expressed thanks and support for the decision and feeling like maybe now they can start trying to move forward with their lives. We are also aware that there are family members who are not happy with the decision, don't agree with the decision, who have been voicing their feelings about that. And that's certainly their right. I don't begrudge them that. We cannot imagine what it must be like to lose a child, the way these families have lost a child, a sister, a brother, a friend. It's just unimaginable. And so we respect completely how everybody has their own way of having to deal with this and to grieve.
Any idea where the murder weapon went?
No, and I don't think we'll ever know. I know there are questions. It's human nature for all of us to think, okay, well, explain why this happened. We understand that. I can tell you that from the very beginning, the FBI brought out members of their behavioral analysis unit, their profilers, to try to help us develop some insights. And they told us early on, just looking at the nature of the crimes, the fact that there was no direct connection that anybody could find between the murderer and the victims, they said, in our experience, you likely will never know why this happened. And even if the murderer were to try to say something, it wouldn't make sense to anybody but the murderer.
That's one of the most ridiculous statements I've ever heard in my life. Truly one of the most ridiculous statements.
And that's kind of the reality. Judge Hippler commented a little bit on that too at the time of sentencing, that it's natural for people to have those sorts of questions, but in a case like this, we aren't going to get the answers from the defendant. And even if he said something, there would be no way to corroborate it or to believe him.
All right, Rick, as a condition of this gift that prosecutors gave him, right, the gift of life, couldn't they have made a condition, hey, how about a proffer from the killer? Tell us where the murder weapon is. Tell us where the rest of the evidence is, because we can corroborate that. And then proffer questions like why you did it, how you picked your victims, all of that. You can believe it or not believe it, but you could ask him to make that a condition of his plea, couldn't you?
You could ask that, Vinny, but what are the chances that he wants to do that or he's going to do that? I just don't, for me.
Good night, Alicia. Have a good night.
If it's my client, we're not doing that. That's not happening.
Okay, but here's the thing, Rick. Here's the thing, right? He's not going to appeal, so he can admit all this stuff. He has to in the guilty plea anyway. But they came to the prosecution saying we want to plead guilty, right? So how about, Allie? How about putting a couple conditions on this? Like, hey, tell us where the murder weapon is. Tell us where the clothes are. Show us where your mask is. Tell us why you picked Maddie, why you picked this one, and where you went. Give us an outline of the whole night. Why not do that?
I mean, I suppose they could do whatever they wanted, but at the end of the day, they chose to extend an offer of life without the possibility of parole, with all of his appeals being waived. And so I know we can sit here and say, well, what if we did this and what if we did that? But at the end of the day, like the prosecutor was saying, there's not a reason to believe a single word that would come out of Brian Kohberger's mouth, especially at that point in time. And so I suppose they could have gone in with conditions, but at the end of the day, they chose not to, because I think they believe that they did what was best for these 4 families who have suffered an absolutely horrific loss. And they gave these people some semblance of peace and closure. And to further make that.
No, I have not seen any new pics yet. Circus music, sorry.
At more of a circus by giving Brian Kohberger a platform to brag about or to give information about why he did what he did, when we couldn't believe that anyway.
Could be a private interview. It doesn't
have to be in public, you're right.
You can corroborate, though, where the murder weapon is and the other evidence that he got rid of that night. All right, here we go.
What if you didn't?
What's that, Rick?
But what if you didn't? What if he sent you running around on a goose chase?
Then he gets the death penalty trial. There you go. Make it a condition. That's what, I mean, I don't know. All right, great news. Think Tank staying with us. When we come back, we're going to hear more of the prosecutor's interview.
Plus, you're on one
up
tonight.
Next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, new information about the Idaho 4 killer coming from his cell phone. Was he inspired by the Gainesville Ripper, a case seen on Court TV in the early 90s? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan.
It blows my mind that, yeah, I think he does too. It blows my mind that anytime they find anything that has something to do with a serial killer or something, that they automatically try to say that he was trying to be that person. The man was a criminology student. It's normal to have these things. Guys, we're true crime, whatever you call us, people, okay? And we look this stuff up. It's on our phones and our computers. This guy's actually going to school to become a forensic cloud forensics investigator. So he studied them. Okay, so it's a normal standard to find stuff like that on their devices. But the way they keep trying to push that to make it seem like he's related to that, or is related that to him doing what he does. It's insane to me. Hey, nothing. Good to see you. It's so ridiculous. It is so ridiculous.
Painfully average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your ass. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I haven't seen them, Circus. That's what I was saying. I have not seen them.
Kaylee's sister, Olivia Gonzalez, at the sentencing of the killer. I want you to take a listen to the prosecutor talking about this and this part of what happened inside the courtroom, because it's not ordinary that victims are allowed to go that far or sometimes even directly address the killer. Let's take a listen.
Did Judge Hippler, in your view, Bill,
Exactly.
give them a bit of wiggle room as to what they could say and the reaction from the folks inside the courtroom? I know it's the applause in a courtroom is something you don't see often.
No, and we weren't quite sure how Judge Hippler would react to that. I think that he made clearly the right call. There was a lot of emotion, and these families, they needed the opportunity to express them.
Oh, I guess I do have these. Thank you, Christine. I'll show you guys here as soon as I get through this. These are obviously leaked by somebody that works at the jail or at the prison. The way that these pictures are taken, I can tell you right now, they're leaked from somebody that works at the prison. Where do you see these?
Themselves. Certainly, if it had been the sentencing phase or the penalty phase of the capital case, the law would have prohibited much of what was said or occurred in the courtroom, but that wasn't the situation. And we applaud Judge Hippler for letting the families express themselves.
All right, our think tank's still with us. Cindy Rushing, Rick King, and Ali Benevento. All right, Cindy, what'd you think of the way that all went down?
I think it was, they spoke their mind. They spoke their piece, and they got to say it. They got to say it to his face. Olivia, I think, did absolutely fantastic. Her victim impact statement was so powerful. It was strong. And it kind of pointed out all the issues, with BK, and that he likes to have control. So I'm not very surprised that he wanted to take a plea offer, because that allowed him to control the narrative. However, she let him know how sloppy he was, all of the mistakes he made. He really has OCD. He has all these things, and she called him out on every single thing and said it straight to his face. And you could tell that her statement specifically really bothered him. I'm not surprised that the judge, no one took it too far. I mean, it was getting kind of borderline close there. But we had a case in Michigan, Larry Nasser, same thing. The judge let the, victims in that case let it all out. And so, I think that allows them to have that closure that they so badly wanted to get, because they finally got to voice their opinion to him, instead of going to a trial where potentially it could have came back not guilty and they never got to say a thing.
Yeah, not in Idaho. It wasn't going to be a not guilty in Idaho. No, I don't think so.
You never know, right, Vinny?
I know you never know. I know you never know.
With juries.
But the
You
evidence,
never know.
the evidence is what it is. Let me ask you, Allie, that moment I think was empowering for Olivia Gonzalez, and it seemed to have some impact on the defendant. Do you think that maybe the family will take away from it? That was the trade-off, right? Because I think Bill Thompson's right. If you've got a jury there, that's not going to happen, right? If there's victim impact and there's a jury at that moment, unless you do the victim impact after the jury has already given their recommendation to the judge, that wouldn't necessarily happen. But if that was the trade-off, maybe that's where they can walk away with something from this whole process.
For sure. These victim impact statements, in the moment that a victim is able to face the person that hurt them or hurt their family in court, can be so powerful. It can be so cathartic for people. And I think that Olivia took advantage of the opportunity to face Bryan Kohberger and at least attempt to make him feel just a fraction of the hurt that she and her family and the families of the other three were feeling. Now, as for how she delivered that, again, I'm not in a position to judge the way anyone grieves or the way they process such a traumatic event. I do, however, have a great deal of respect for the court. I'm a trial lawyer. I think there's a certain element of decorum and sanctity in a courtroom. And while Bryan Kohberger pleaded guilty to a heinous, disgusting, despicable act, I do still think that a courtroom should be a place of decorum and respect. And unfortunately, I think a little bit of that was missing. But again, none of us can possibly imagine what that family was going through. And victims have this right at this stage to face the person who hurt them and say what they have to say. And again, she was very brave and took advantage of that opportunity.
Rick, I want you to take a listen to Bill Thompson here. Don Nelson, the reporter, asked him a very interesting question. Let's take a listen.
Do you ever make eye contact with Bryan Kohberger in Ada County or Latah County? And if you did, what was that like for you?
I looked at the defendant probably more when we were still up here in Latah County. Anybody who's seen me in court before knows that I tend to engage with defendants, particularly at sentencings. But there was a vacancy, a distance that I saw in this defendant, or that I sensed. And so I think I looked at him once during the sentencing itself. And that's when I pointed to him and talked about he's going to go through that door into the Department of Corrections, and the door's going to close forever. And he's not coming out until he's dead. That's all that I had to direct at him.
I will say this, Rick. Bill Thompson had a lot of pressure on him from the beginning. He was there right after the crime happened. He was overseeing a lot of what was happening here. And they did an amazing job of gathering the evidence in this case and building the case. And I think that's probably the most important part of what they did.
I agree. I think the evidence they were able to mount together and put this case against BK led to that defense ultimately coming to the table and say, hey, listen, we don't want to take that extra step. We want to try to resolve it right here. In terms of looking at the defendant in the eye, though, I find that prosecutors are really adept at doing that. I find that they find that moment in the trial where they want to turn to the defendant and stare him down and point to him and almost talk to him in the course of what they're doing. So I'm shocked that he said he only did it a few times, but I find it happens quite often. And I can imagine looking into the eyes of BK. I think he said they were vacant. I imagined, and just looking at the photos that come across the screen here, they look vacant. They look hollow. He's a scary individual.
Devoid of humanity is, I think, the best way to describe him.
What bullshit. And that blonde girl up in the right-hand corner, yeah, she's been on Birdie's channel. she said the exact opposite to what she just said here. So obviously they're paying her. She said that she thought that what Olivia said and did in some aspects was trashy. So that's a joke to me. Be real. Don't be fake, folks. Just because you're getting a paycheck from somebody, that's a damn joke. Absolute bullshit. Exactly, Eddie. Exactly. All right, guys. Let me show you these photos. You can tell that these were leaked from a prison worker. I'm sorry. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't put the link on that one. It's okay. There we go. I think this should be it. Maybe. Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I can make that bigger for you guys. There we go. Okay. So you can tell that where he's at, they have a camera on him, probably 24/7. And this is something that there shouldn't be putting out, in my opinion. What a mess. Yeah, I've seen him, Christina. There's more. So let me take these ones down real quick. Give me a second. It's got a pretty good size cell, considering. It's like his music player. That looks like a TV remote. Does he have a TV already? I doubt it. Yeah, he's got OCD. If you look at his hands, it's probably from repetitive hand washing. So he's very OCD about that kind of stuff that's already been talked about. So that's a big cell. Truly, it is. I definitely expected a smaller room. He's got more than three pairs of shoes in there. Huh. Okay. You think it's a medical ward? It could be, maybe. It's a good point. Yeah. Multiple blankets. Oh, yeah, his hands are definitely red. Like I said, he does that obsessive hand washing stuff. Thank you, Bianca. I will look there. Next up, hold on. Maybe give me a second here. Hold on. When did you send it already, Bianca? I don't see it yet. Hang on. Let's see. Did you send it? Oh, you probably sent it Discord, huh? Hold on. 1 second here. Yeah, you did. Gotcha. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Hang on. We got a damn video. That's wild. Wow. How the hell do you get that? It is kind of sad. It's creepy and sad, Bianca, at the same time. There's nothing about him looks scary to me. Nothing. I don't see it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And to hear the way that people talk about this guy, listen, if he did do this somehow that makes that there's no way that any of us can see it, so be it, okay? But other than that, folks, I don't get it. I don't get a vibe. I don't get anything. I feel bad for this kid. I do. And to for this to happen to anybody, the way it's happened to him, it just blows my damn mind. He's by himself. That's what he's thinking, P. He's like, you know, there's nobody there for him to talk to, no nothing. It's just, this is it. This is his day, every day, period. It's sad. Yeah, that's it right there, done one. Some asshole fucking piece of trash just made $1,000 showing a video of his misery. It's sickening to me. Right. That's how you know it's fake, folks. Dago, MSN reported he was in a dark cell and hunkered in a corner. That's what I'm saying. Like, they need to stop. It's so disgusting at this point. Oh, oh, it says Moonchild Lotus. That's where the video came from TikTok, I believe. Because people want to see it, Eddie. That people want to see it, and they know they can make money off of it. Clearly, there was somebody that probably paid that guy even up at the. I'm sure somebody could make 10 grand off of something like that. Think about it. Unbelievable. Colleen Kelly Calkins, hello. It is beyond sad, Dana. Right. That's what I'm saying. This is his whole day from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to bed. Until they let him out for that 1 hour or whatever it is a day. This is what he does, and it's beyond sickening to me. All because they had to cover up something that they, didn't want to get out there. It's unbelievable that this can happen to a human being. Unbelievable that this can happen to a human being. It blows my mind. I was trying to find something on this thing they said about him filing a report on somebody or something. Oh, hold on. This is the only place I can find it. I'm so sorry, you guys. Whether it's true or not, we don't know. But it was stated that he did file complaints. So bear with me. Please don't hate me for playing this. But there's the only place I could find it, anything about it at all. Don't hate me, folks.
Department of Corrections that I received. This reporting comes from the Daily Mail. They are the ones who have been reporting through sources that Bryan Kohberger has had issues in prison. And what they're saying is inmate number 163214, that's his inmate number, is having a far from smooth sailing experience in prison, that he's been relentlessly tormented by his new jailmates who are shouting through the vents into his cell at all hours of the day. They say that it is rattling Kohberger, driving him crazy. The inmates are tormenting him at night at almost all hours of the day, taunting him through the vents in his cell. They're literally getting up into the grate and yelling at him. The inmates are taking turns doing it. It is relentless. That's what the Daily Mail is reporting, that Kohberger is extremely annoyed and frustrated. He's complaining to authorities that he cannot sleep because of it. And basically, I guess, has just been making these complaints now for the last couple of days. And apparently the prison doesn't seem to really care, which honestly, like, who really cares? I mean, this guy admitted to killing 4 innocent young college kids, and he is annoyed that he can't sleep in prison. I mean, who cares? So I know that Bryan Kohberger is being housed in the J block of the maximum security prison, which is about 30 minutes or so outside of Boise. And that's actually the same block as where the death row inmates are housed, and you're in total isolation. So I got this 2.5-hour tour of the maximum security prison when I was there right before the sentencing, and I didn't see the exact area where Kohberger is now in the J block, but I saw all the other areas where the inmates are it's very similar. It's all basically the same. And so he is housed inside a cell by himself 23 hours a day. So he can't really see the other inmates based on what I saw there, because they are also in the cells 23 hours a day. The only time he would be able to see them is when they're brought out one by one, because they each get outside time for 1 hour a day. So when they bring them out, they shackle them. And I guess when they're walking by, Kohberger could have some
I would hope so, Aquarian.
interaction with them. And they're brought out just for 1 hour a day to this sort of outdoor area that's still totally enclosed. I mean, it's outside technically, because the roof, which has a gate on the top, but you can at least see the sun, but you're not actually like outside, like what you would see in prison in the movies where there's a basketball hoop and all of that stuff. It's still kind of inside. So the only time I think that Kohberger would actually see the other inmates is when they are being brought by his cell when they get their hour out each day. But what they're saying about him saying that he's tormented, what's happening, and I saw this when I was there, is even though the prisoners can't see each other, the cells are still next to each other, and there's 2 stories, and they all yell at each other through the grates. I mean, it happened while I was there. They're constantly screaming, and they find ways to communicate with each other. And when I was there, I
It could be, Joanne. That's a good point.
saw something happening that the jail staff told me is called fishing, which is when they use like a line, like basically they'll from their clothes or from their blanket, they'll like pull out small long strings like of cotton or whatever, and they'll almost use it like a fishing line, and they will do what they call fishing, where they'll attach notes to the end of the line, and then they'll put it under their cell door and try to like almost like fish it out into the open and try to get it to another cell so that they can communicate with another prisoner. So that may be some of what's going on with Koberger there, but it sounds to me like they're just yelling through the grates, which when I was there, I heard a lot of yelling. And it was interesting. The jail staff doesn't really seem to do anything about it because it's kind of like they don't really care. Let the people yell, gives them something to do, gives the inmates something to do, and just really makes no difference to the staff. The staff is up in sort of a control center up above with thick glass where they look down.
Yeah, they usually have the inmates on like anywhere inmates on like suicide watch for a period of time, until that's cleared. And it may be something different because he's in PC. So I don't know. We'll see.
Into the pods. So when they're not down there, it's not like the yelling would really annoy them or anything like that because they're up in the pod, sort of in the control center. So they just let the yelling happen. They let the fishing happen, which we got on video, if you look closely here. And I'm assuming that's what's annoying Koberger. But at the end of the day, again, who really cares? I mean, it is what it is. It's prison. And they're concerned that Koberger could have a target on his back, that he could be hurt by other prisoners, which is the reason that he is in this basically solitary confinement in the J block. There are other areas in the max prison where people come out into the pods and they can interact with each other. And I saw that. I don't suspect, based on what I have heard, that Koberger is going to find himself in one of those parts of the prison anytime soon. I mean, he could spend the rest of his life in this solitary area where he's alone in the cell for 23 hours a day, mostly because, again, they're concerned that he has a target on his back and that he could end up being injured. So after touring the prison, meeting the prison staff, I'm sort of wondering how they're receiving these complaints. I think they take things like that somewhat seriously. But at the same time, again, it is prison, and the people were noisy when I was there, and I think that's just part of it. And I guess Koberger is going to have to get used to it. He will eventually be able to have his own tablet in his cell, I learned, where he can email and he can listen to music, and you have that 24 hours a day because, you know, he'll never leave the cell besides 1 hour a day. I also was told he'll be able to buy his own TV at some point. So he'll have access to music, to TV, and it seems like he's just going to have to get used to the other inmates yelling through the vents, because in my experience, that's what was happening there. And when I was there, which this was a couple of weeks ago, but there was a hunger strike going on in part of the prison. So there was essentially this battle happening between the prison warden and prison staff and some of the prisoners. And I forget how many people were on a hunger strike. I think it was a couple of dozen at the time. And what they were protesting is, so there were different gangs in the prison, which they try to get rid of, but there's really nothing you can do about it because a lot of these people were in gangs before they went on the inside, and they're still in these gangs. And there were two gangs, and some of the gang members were upset that they weren't housed in the same pods as their other fellow gang members, and were trying to protest to get them moved to different parts of the prison. And as part of that, they were on this hunger strike. And I don't know if it's still going on there. This was happening 3 weeks ago when I was there. So there's kind of a lot going on in the prison right now, because you've got the hunger strike, you've got Koberger, who is now there, and you can tell that everybody is sort of like, not on edge, but the people who work there know that this is sort of a tense time. And now that you've got Koberger also complaining, again, I just wonder if they really care with everything else that's going on there right now.
So Chris Madonna was on with Banfield, and he is the director of the Cold Case Foundation, and he's the one with some of this reporting of specifics of uh, what Koberger says is happening in the prison. And I just want to read you some of what he said to Ashley Banfield. The inmates apparently were waiting on him, and when he got there, they are now making his life absolutely miserable. This is what McDonough is saying. They're utilizing the vents.
99% of what McDonough said was bullshit. AR broke that down and like destroyed that completely. McDonough has no idea what the hell he's even talking about. That's a joke.
System. They're kicking the doors. They're taunting him, and they're basically, torturing him through psychology. He's complaining, and the guards at this point, the most they can do is write it down and tell him that
Good
there's
point,
nothing
Emmett.
that we can do. You're not in physical harm, which again, the physical harm is really their main concern here because they are concerned that someone may want to hurt Koberger, which I know sounds weird because it's like Koberger killed these 4 kids and who cares about it. But at the same time, it's the prison's job to keep everybody safe too. And he was sentenced to be there for the rest of his life, so they want to make sure that he stays alive, which is the reason I again believe that he is going to stay in solitary confinement there in the J block where he is right now. When I was
Chris has no idea at all what it's like there. He couldn't handle it probably for 5 minutes. He'd pee on himself and go cry in the corner like the little girl that he is. That's exactly what McDonough would do. He's a joke. And I hate when people pretend like they know something. They were waiting on him when he got there. Shut the hell up. That's such a joke. That is not. Just like AR said, no, they weren't. It is. It's so stupid. So stupid. Yeah, he would call Nancy to fight his fights for him. Good point there, nothing.
in Idaho, I interviewed a bondsman, a local bondsman who really knows the prison system well, who explained what it was going to be like for Koberger in this specific prison and why they were concerned about him having a target on his back. Listen to what he told me. What is this max security prison like?
So the max security prison in Idaho is the most secure facility we have in the state, and it is housed with 540 spaces for inmates, and it's got double fences, double razor wire, electronic monitoring all the way around, and it's positioned with 6 other facilities that Idaho has, from community reintroducement to a women's facility and stuff like that. But that is the most secure facility, and it's where death row is housed.
What will Brian Koberger's life be like there?
His life is going to be a little more harsh than what it was in the Ada County Jail. When he was there, we couldn't legally say he was guilty yet. Now he is guilty. He doesn't have all that, kind of back and forth stuff. He is a guilty murderer, and he's going to have to be segregated. As you may know, people in prison don't like people that hurt women or children, and he's hurt women, and that's not something that the inmates there take lightly to. It's something that is definitely going to put a target on his back.
And the people in that same prison are the most dangerous.
They're the most dangerous in Idaho. That's where it is. The facility he's in is a men-only facility, and it's the most dangerous prisoners in Idaho.
Wow. Will he be alone all the time?
He will be in confinement. It's not going to be a disciplinary segregation. It's going to be more of an administrative segregation because of the target on his back for murdering women. And he will be out an hour a day. And the former Attorney General of Idaho said he'll probably be in solitary his whole life. And I agree because of that.
So no interaction with other prisoners?
No. The maximum security facility in Idaho does have a step-down program to where they can reintroduce people to other inmates, and they kind of put them in cages in the same room to where they can talk but not have contact. But I don't think he will ever get that chance. It's something he would probably be smart not wanting, because there is that target, and people in prison don't forget. He will always have that target.
Yeah, I mean, you know what life is like behind bars because of what you do.
Yes.
I mean, how serious is the risk, do you think, to his life?
The risk to his life is very serious. The target he has, and he's not only, they don't only have to say he's being protected from others, they have to protect other prisoners from him. But there's also those prisoners in there that are going to want to make a name for themselves. Behind bars, it's the game of who's tougher, who's scared of me. And people are going to want to make a name for themselves doing something to him.
So we'll see how all this plays out. I don't suspect we're going to hear much more from the Department of Corrections because, again, I hate to go back to this, but it's like, who really cares? I mean, if he's not physically harmed and he's just being taunted through the vents and people are yelling, it's like, okay, welcome to prison. I think Koberger doesn't realize how good he had it. First in the Latah County Jail, where I talked to the sheriff there. I mean, they gave him vegan meals, they gave him his own TV. From what we can tell, he was.
And they have to give him vegan meals in prison too. He'll have his own TV here eventually. He'll have all those same things, folks. So
treated really fairly. And then also in the Ada County Jail, same thing. And I think that, you're innocent until proven guilty when you're inside of a jail. Before, you either plead guilty or you're found guilty by a jury and you're awaiting trial and you're in the county jail, you're innocent until proven guilty. Even with the evidence against you, that is still, for the most part, how you are treated, and how people think of you. Now that Koberger has pled guilty and has said, yes, I did it, I killed these 4 college kids, and you go to prison and you go to the most serious max security prison in Idaho, I mean, some of this just comes with the territory. So I'm going to continue to follow it, but truthfully, I don't think you're going to see me cover his prison life in great detail. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. And if things pop up a little, I will. And this is the first thing. And I know people are curious, but for me, I just don't care. I mean, you're in prison, dude. You killed 4 people. You avoided the death penalty. If they're yelling at you through the vents, whatever. So that's the latest. Working on a couple of other videos for this week.
such a douchebag. These people, here's my question, everybody. Truly, if and when, because I feel that it's very probable, if and when it all comes out and everything's exposed and Brian is exonerated for all this, I want to hear what everybody has to say then. I want to hear all your this little hobbit, what his statements will be then, and what Smashley Trashfield has to say, and Grandma Disgraceful, and all these trashy ass so-called reporters. I want to hear exactly what they have to say about that then. Truly. Every one of these pieces of shit better truly give this man an apology, because they've done nothing but degrade him, his life, destroy his life, his family. Can you imagine what they've done to his family? I'm sure his family have watched some of these things. The things that his family has to hear them say about him. Can you imagine how they feel after already losing him like this? It's a damn shame. They won't apologize. Think about it. They're too into themselves, folks. It's sickening to me. Sickening. But I'll make sure I glorify it when it happens. Truly will. These people are a joke. They're no, in my opinion, they're supposed to be mainstream media reporters. They're supposed to be a certain level, right? They don't have an ounce of class. None of them. People on YouTube, I've been called a YouTube reporter. That's what I do. Okay. But the people on YouTube seem to have way more class that report these things than these jokes do. It's hilarious. They show their true colors as to the type of a person they are in a scenario like this. And it's sickening to me. If I owned a broadcasting company and these people worked for me, Nope. Whether they're exerting their opinion, that's different. But the way they do it, so classless and such, just so dirty. Like, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want anybody working for me like that. And I don't know if they think it's going to give them ratings or whatever, but it's disgusting. These people are just, everything they're saying about him, I believe they're projecting of themselves. That's how I take it. That's exactly how I take it. It's just unbelievable to me. It's sad because you guys know I was a big fan of Vinny's, and I followed everything he did, and he's probably the last, but I really am leaning far away from him. I can't stand this troll here and fucking Skeletor, Smashley Trashfield. She's disgusting as all hell to me. Internet Levy's even started. I had a little bit of respect for her, but she's even started to lean in that direction too. These people are sickening to me. You can report facts on a story without being the way they've been about it. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. If I disappear, folks, I'll be back quickly thereafter. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They think it's cool. Banfield has a paid producer for her podcast. They are getting paid from TV and YouTube. See? It's sickening. Sorry. That's it right there. That's the biggest part that they don't seem to care about, done one. We don't want their opinions. We just want them to give us real, true facts. They can't even do that. They've screwed that up too. So, absolute. It's so sad. It is. Like I said, if it's ever proven, we know that the Latah County Prosecutor's Office can't do it, but if it's ever proven that Brian Koberger was somehow responsible for this crime, okay, then he did it. He's going to do his time. It is what it is. I accept that. The problem is when if it's ever possible to be proven that he didn't do this, these people, the guilters, none of them are going to change a damn thing they've said. On they go to the next scenario. I've never in my life imagined that there could be so much in such a horrific propaganda train that could have done what has been done to him before he was even ever found guilty of anything, folks. That's the sad part, okay? From day one, they ran this narrative into the dirt, into the ground. And the man was absolutely 100% found guilty by the court of public opinion, which is sickening to me. It's just, it's sickening to see something like this. I have no idea, Ranger. I'm sure he's going to have one, but I don't know if he does yet or not. I hope he does. Oh, she's trash, Brian. That chick, she's trash. She showed her true colors. She is absolute trash. Yeah, there is the people like Walter Cronkite, Dan Rather, people like that. They should be ashamed of people like this, you know? It's so bad. And it's unbelievable to see this. This is why I don't watch that anymore. I don't. I have not watched. I watch my local news like directly right around me. They don't act like this, but even when they've talked about, my local news has talked about this case. They've never put anything ignorant, nasty, or anything. They're very professional about it. But all the national, media outlets, I quit watching them probably 2 years ago because they lie. They put out nothing but what's scripted. They don't. They just, it's gross what they've turned into. The whole country, it's disgusting. So I guess Ann hasn't filed a motion. Yes, she's probably going to take him all the way up to if there is a appeal filed, she'll take him all the way up to that point, and then they'll have to jump to another set of attorneys. Yeah, that's the sad part, Circus. We seem to have information before them, and we have truthful information. They don't. That's what blows my mind. It's insane. There's pretty soon it's going to be gone, folks. Mainstream media will be this right here. It's already going that direction very quickly. So people do not trust that anymore. They trust this. That's what's happened. So I don't even know, you guys. Agreed. That's a fact. That is a huge fact, Pamela. It really has. Same for me. I've been doing this going on 4 years in total, and never imagined the things I've learned could be true. You know, she made one statement, Texas, and all her statement was that they wouldn't be making any public statements on this. That she's going to be focusing her attention on continuing to defend Brian until she can't, basically, is what she stated. That she wouldn't be stepping out and making any statements or doing anything. So, which very respectable. That is the only statement she put out. I just don't get it. No, I wonder, see, they're all connected to that. That's the sad shit. I can't find anything that doesn't have one of them in it. Hold on a minute. All right, so somebody sent me an email about this thing called a conservative felon. Yeah, Keith Morrison was amazing. He is. I love them guys. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, this guy's called the conservative felon. Has anybody ever heard about this? There's people put Jumpsuit Pablo put out Brian Koberger snitches on deadly inmates wanted by killers. See, like, stop doing this shit. Has anybody ever heard of this other guy? You guys are family to me, Circus. Of course I would love to have you. I love having you here. The conservative felon, nobody's heard of him. It was an email sent to me about what's going on with Brian in prison. This is another, I guess it's a felon. It's definitely not the bullshit that Brian is saying. So, and he's showing the truth about what Brian's going to go through, it says, and stuff like that. I don't know. I guess we can check it out. Let's see what we got here.
Button. Everybody else, welcome back. For those of you that have never joined the channel before or viewed me speaking before, I speak on the criminal justice system due to my experience of serving 17 years as a prisoner in the Department of Corrections. And today we are going to talk about the current status of Brian Kohlberger, the man who did the quadruple murder in the state of Idaho. I know many of you could even be tired of hearing about this individual, but I'm going to discuss his current circumstances as of today, exactly what's going on with him and what's probably going on with him mentally and emotionally right now, because he is being tortured inside of Idaho's maximum security prison. And what I mean by tortured is he is, well, we'll get into that right now. He is in Idaho's only maximum security prison that the state has. He is in J Block. J Block is where they also house prisoners, death row inmates. He is prisoner number 163214, housed inside of J Block, as I said, where they also house the death row prisoners. Brian Kohlberger has complained to the prison administration. This has been verified, that he cannot sleep due to the fact the other prisoners are banging on the walls, screaming through the ventilation system. So as you know, you have well, as you may not know or may know, there is a vent in every single cell, because you have to have fresh oxygen pumped inside. And because prisoners can't communicate, because there's a door in front of their cell, there's not bars, there's a solid door that shuts with a little plexiglass window and a little door that opens to slide food in and out, but that remains shut. So communication is very difficult. The prisoners can't see one another either, because the rooms are next to one another. And so what they do is they communicate by screaming through the ventilation system. They will stand up on their toilet or stand up on their bed, wherever the vent is, and they'll scream into the ventilation system, and that your voice travels through the air ducts and comes out of the ventilation system in the other prisoner's cell. And so what they're doing is they're screaming at Brian.
The channel is called The Conservative Felon. The link is right there in the chat, guys.
And Kohlberger, day and night. It is said that they're taking shifts, that the prisoners are taking shifts to make his life living hell. He is entitled the only time he comes out of that cell. So let me tell you what it's like for him right now, because these things have been verified. He is allowed to have a tablet in there. He is allowed to listen to music on that tablet. He is allowed to email people on that tablet. He's allowed to do that 24 hours a day. He will eventually allow to be purchased a television set for inside of the cell. But, and he's allowed to have books. And that's basically all he's allowed to have inside of that cell. And this is going to be for the rest of his life. Brian Kohlberger, from the way it appears, is not going to be put into the general population, according to the Idaho Department of Corrections. The Idaho Department of Corrections did respond to Brian Kohlberger complaining. They did make a statement, and they said that he is safe. He is not in harm's way. There is no physical harm being brought upon him. And so basically it looks like he's going to stay in that area. He's going to be in that cell reading. That's what he's going to do. They do have the ability to move him to a different area. Who knows if they're going to do that or not, you know? So basically this guy is living in his cell. This is going to be Brian Kohlberger's life for the rest of his life. He's going to be in the Idaho maximum security prison system, the most secure prison in the state of Idaho. He is going to be housed in, it's considered solitary confinement, but what it really is solitary confinement is used as a punishment. He is not being punished. So he is in.
It's considered protective custody. That way they can watch what's going on, and he can't be gotten to by other prisoners. That's why.
What is called administrative segregation, which is what they use when they need to segregate someone from the population of the prison. And I was wondering if there would be a target on his back or not. And it appears that there is a target on his back, that the prisoners have decided that he is responsible for killing innocent women. He also killed a young man, but they feel that he killed innocent women, and they are torturing him because of that, mentally and emotionally. And I would say he is being tortured. I have been in that situation. I mean, I've been in solitary confinement, and I've been locked in a room like that by myself for extensive periods of time. And to hear the other prisoners weren't yelling at me, but just to hear them yelling all day long at one another and screaming, and the sound, the echoes, and them pounding on the walls, and singing rap music all day long. And it really is torture to have to sit in your cell and listen to that all day long. And so for those of you that
depending on what happens, I may be Pumpkin. I definitely may be.
really wish Brian Kohlberger would have got the death penalty, you would be happy to know that the man is being tortured right now, mentally and emotionally, spiritually. He can't get any sleep. The noise is driving him crazy. He's scared for. He's scared. Excuse me. He's scared for his life. Because there is a target on him. And because of these circumstances and what's going on right now, if another prisoner had the opportunity to take him out, it looks like they would take Brian Kohlberger out if he had that opportunity. And who knows if he imagined that this is what his life was going to be like after he committed his crime, if he knew it was going to be this bad. And it is bad. It is bad because, again, I'll say, I have been locked in a room in solitary, and to know that he's going to be like that for the rest of his life, I think I don't know what type of man he is, but it could be possible that he commits suicide. It can be possible that he can't take it. It is a form of torture. But I guess in this sense, they feel that it's necessary. The only time he comes out of that cell, the only time he is permitted to come out of that cell is for probably 3 reasons. One, for his 1 hour of recreation a day. Every prisoner is entitled to 1 hour of recreation a day. I have clarified that his 1 hour of recreation is not in a prison yard. What it is what we call the dog cage. He steps out into a 8x10 cage, and that's his recreation. There's no weights, there's no basketball court, there's no handball court. As long as the fresh sunlight can hit him, then that is considered recreation. And that is the recreation for the people in J Block in the Idaho State Prison. They step out into what's called the dog pen, an 8x10 cage, and they're allowed to stay out there for 60 minutes. The only other time he'll be permitted out of his cell is if he has to go to a medical appointment where they will come to his cell, they will handcuff him and shackle him, and then transport him to his medical appointment. And if he gets a visit, he'll be taken out of his cell to go into a visit. He will not be in the visit room with the general population. He will be in a room off to the side, locked up with his visit. And so, yes, he has a solitary life from now on, and that is going to be his life for the rest of his life. The Department of Corrections is really not too concerned that he's being yelled at and being screamed at. All they have to do is make sure that nobody kills him, nobody takes him out. That is their job. Their job is to protect him regardless of what he did. That's their job, is to protect him. And boy, man, I don't feel bad for him, but I not at all. But I know that situation, man. Boy, that's a rough thing. He's going to break down mentally in those circumstances right there. He's going to break down mentally as every day goes by and every day passes. He is not going to get stronger. it's going to break him down. He's going to get weaker. That's the situation with Brian Kohlberger. If anyone wanted to know what he's going through, that's what he's going through right now, and it's not going to get any better. I think the only thing that he could look forward to is if the prison administration decides to move him into another area, because he's not going to move to another prison. I don't see him moving to another prison. And I don't know how many areas they have to house someone in his situation. That's where they house you, in administrative segregation. And prisoners can be relentless. They could be relentless. They're gonna scream on them all night. They may get tired of it after a few months. Who knows? They may keep
Christina.
going. I don't know. I can't tell you that part right there. But that's what's going on with that guy, man. What a rough life. What a rough life. I know I'm going to get many comments of people say, good, very good. Boy, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. He's not going to see any other prisoners either. He's not going to see it. It's not even possible to see him, because everyone in that area is locked in a room behind a solid door with a little window, and the other prisoners are next to him. So he's not even going to see another prison. They do have a program in the Iowa State Prison called Stepping Down, where they take people who are in his circumstances and they kind of give them an hour recreation locked in a cage, and then they have another person locked in their cage, and they can communicate with each other and see each other. But I don't even know if he's going to be eligible for that, because he's got a target on his back. So that's his situation right there. I figured I'd fill you in on that guy, and that's a wrap. I'll talk with you guys soon.
That's his opinion as to what's going on with him now. Who knows, folks? But I think that's going to do it for tonight. I'm a little tired. 2.5 hours. We're good for tonight, guys. Thank you for joining me. Meanwhile, I'll be digging and looking to see if I can find those Idaho State police documents so that we can actually review those hopefully tomorrow and see if we can find the truth within those as well, folks. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. Nothing but love to you guys. Absolute love. Don't forget to love yourselves and love each other. Don't change nothing. You guys are the beautiful people. Good night. God bless. And I will see you soon, folks. Bye-bye.
Sticky floors, coffee stains, buzzing neon light remains. Faces murmur, shifting blame. Fingers tap on worn out wood. Shadows move where nothing should. Secrets hiding under hoods. True crime cafe, where the whispers play, where the lies don't fade, where the sinners stay. True crime cafe, nothing's black or white, just a bloody fight on the flickering light. Cops and questions, mouths shut tight. Truths and ghosts in the middle of the night. Everyone's guilty, nobody's right. Shattered glass on the floor like stars. A world of bruises and broken scars. Justice choking in a smoky bar. True crime cafe, where the whispers play, where the lies don't fade, where the sinners stay. True crime cafe, nothing's black or white, just a bloody fight on the flickering light. Cops and questions, mouths shut tight. Truths and ghosts in the middle of the night. Everyone's guilty, nobody's right. Shattered glass on the floor like stars. A world of bruises and broken scars. Justice choking in a smoky bar.